Today, we have the honor of spending time with Mike Page. Mike is a seasoned quality and regulatory executive with more than 3 decades of experience across food, beverage, consumer products, and medical devices. Throughout his career, he held senior leadership roles at companies including Kimberly-Clark, Starbucks, the Coca-Cola Company, and Kraft Foods, where he led global quality, regulatory, and product safety efforts. But beyond his impressive career, Mike is someone I know personally. We first met when I was at Kimberly-Clark, and over time he has become a trusted mentor, someone who has generously shared his experience, perspective, and guidance. Now in retirement, Mike continues to invest in others, and I am especially grateful that he is taking the time to share his journey with us today. Because his story is one that many young people may not see, but absolutely should. And his story is exactly the kind of story we aim to elevate through Aspire. So, Mike, thank you for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
I am so excited. So I have so many questions.
Okay.
But this is going to be a conversation, so
Okay.
we're going to flow.
All right.
So first and foremost, everything I just said was a mouthful.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that young kids really understand what it is you did.
Right.
So those are your past titles.
Right.
What would you say was the most current title or the title that would best be used to describe what you did at those various companies?
Yeah, I'd say where I finished with Kimberly-Clark and with Beachbody as a global vice president for quality and regulatory really explains ultimately what I was responsible for doing. But in layman's terms, my responsibility was always to the consumer. And not to the stockholders, which is traditionally the roles that you see in more operational positions within the company. My role is the assurance that companies have products that are safe for consumption, safe for use, and that adhere to regulatory guidelines set by the United States government, whether it be FDA or USDA. So in layman's terms, that's my responsibility and has been my responsibility over the years.
So in simpler terms, what would you say you did day to day?
So it depends on when you're
Yeah.
talking about as far as my career is concerned, because early days, my time with Kraft Foods, when I was in the Oscar Mayer business with them or in the Kraft cheese business, I was new and early in my career. So my responsibility was actually to do the work of assuring that those things I just spoke of actually did happen. And many of the things that we would do on a daily basis included things like evaluating finished product off the end of the line before those products were being shipped to the consumers. Some of it included regular testing that we had to do, whether it be wet chemistry or any of the physical characteristics that ensured that the products performed as expected. Now, fast forward into my career, much later when I became a vice president, my responsibility was to lead the team of people that were responsible for that. As I walked and retired with Kimberly-Clark, and as I walked out of the door, my organization was 892 people, which included all of the quality personnel in 92 manufacturing facilities. It also included a large number of quality and regulatory personnel at each of our headquarters, and those individuals oversaw those responsibilities that I just spoke of that I would do earlier in my career to ensure those individuals within those manufacturing facilities were doing those same things.
So it sounds like you stood between off the production line to the shelf.
That's correct.
Your team stepped in to make sure everything that was on the shelf was safe, and especially since a lot of those companies you talked about is consumption.
Correct.
with Coca-Cola and Starbucks, and
Correct.
then Kimberly-Clark, a little bit different. You want to
Yeah,
share a little bit more about what those products
I
are?
would. So we made a number of medical devices, and when oftentimes when people think of what medical devices are, they think hip replacements,
Mm-hmm.
knee joints, rotator cuffs, and things of that nature, and those are medical devices. And in very simple terms, a medical device is anything that is a permanent fixture or a temporary fixture in the human body. Now, Kimberly-Clark made a number of medical devices, and some of those included tampons, incontinent devices, like, for instance, Huggies, overnights. Those are, and you wouldn't think a diaper is a medical device, but the rules behind medical devices are defined by the FDA. And when you make a claim that a device can do a certain thing over a period of time, for example, an overnight diaper in the Huggies brand will keep your child dry through the night, and prevent diaper rash. That's a medical claim. And therefore, that device must meet that requirement. And the FDA ensures that. And as you very eloquently said, my team stood between the consumer, and the regulators, and the manufacturing company, which was us, to ensure that not only our products delivered as expected, but met all of the requirements, set forth by the government.
What was the most challenging part of that role?
Um, Ensuring people follow through as they were expected. You have in the world of manufacturing, you have a lot of well-meaning people. I have not in my career met someone who is, maliciously damaged product, to inflict harm on the consuming public. Now, does that happen? Yes, it does. And you only have to look at some of the major crises that we've had in the world of consumer products, like in the 80s, at the Tylenol scare. And the reason we have safe and secure packaging today is as a result of things of that nature happening. I'm talking about the people under my direction, the people within the company. And I say that because those individuals have pride in the products that we manufacture. They want, and in fact, they are products that their own families use. So they have a great deal of pride in the products that they manufactured, and they want to ensure that they delivered as expected, and that they were of significant quality, so that it also ensured that the product was worth the money that was being spent on those devices.
Understood. So we mentioned a couple of different companies, various industries.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the difference in the industries, what led you from one industry to the next
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah. So I will tell you, very clearly. I want to identify something first.
Yeah.
My plan in college was to get my biology and my chemistry degree and go off to medical school and be a pediatrician. And I became a little disillusioned with that. Once, as a child, that's what I envisioned being.
You wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But I always loved learning new things. I was a curious child and always interested in how things worked. And I thought that was the best way to spend my time as an adult and helping children through their issues. In reality, what was more important to me was learning and research. And so as I became more and more involved in the sciences, I found my way to a field that I didn't know existed when I was a child, and that was food science. I ended up getting my degree in biology and chemistry, and worked for a short period of time came back to school, finished my degree in food science, stayed on at the university and got a master's in food science. And then I started my career with Kraft Foods in the Oscar Mayer division in research and development. Because at the time I thought it was an absolute wonder getting the opportunity to create new products, to change how products performed, to identify new processes for the manufacturing of those products. And so it's what I spent the first year of my career doing. And then I was asked to help fill in for someone who had gotten promoted. And this young lady had moved on. She typically ran our laboratory. I was in the R&D organization in a manufacturing facility, was where I was based. And she also had responsibility for the quality team on first shift. So I said, yes, I would. It was one of many times that I said yes to a request over my career. But I said yes, that I would look after the lab and the first shift for a short period of time while they sought to backfill her. Long story short, I sort of fell in love with what they were doing. And then 6 months later, I left my R&D role and joined the quality team at the manufacturing facility with responsibility for overseeing the lab, not just on first shift, but on second as well. And then also running the quality team on first shift. And that's what really began my career in quality.
Yeah, this is interesting because
yeah.
this is just why we're doing this.
Yeah.
One, you're interested in becoming a doctor.
Correct.
And so for so many of our youth, it's usually entertainment or sports.
Yes.
And then next up is law or medicine.
Right.
And what's interesting is you had that interest.
I did.
But you didn't even know this route even existed to express that interest in your science,
right.
Science, curiosity, and your aptitude.
Right.
So it started with R&D, and then again another path revealed itself that you weren't aware of, which was compliance control.
Exactly.
That's interesting. Okay, so then R&D to compliance, did that feel like a natural progression then at that point?
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Most assuredly. Your point that you make though is so many of our youth are exposed to such a small quantity of jobs that are and careers that are available to them over their lifetime. And quite honestly, there's so much more of the world that they are not aware of. And so they make their decisions based on a limited amount of information when there's so much more else that they could do. It's unfortunately, we don't have the time to show kids, oh, here's this, here's that, here's 16 other things other than doctor, lawyer, and those things are all important.
Absolutely.
But there's so many more things in the world to do and opportunities to spend your lifetime doing something.
Yeah, I love that. So then one thing that I think was consistent across the companies that you've been at is that it's always been a product in which the consumer touches or ingests in some way. So that's the one consistency I'd say across them all. But as far as you navigating from Kraft to Coke to Starbucks, was there any rhyme or reason between moving from one to the other?
Yeah. So I spent 12 years with Kraft. And it's rather atypical to spend that much time with a company and then move on to another. And in today's world, and I'll give this quick explanation. In today's world, most companies don't offer a pension. Their 401ks, and those are all economic choices. It's much cheaper to gives as for a company to give someone a dollar for dollar match up to a certain percentage of their income versus to pay someone a pension over once they retire over the rest of their life. That's a much more expensive proposition. At the time, Kraft still had pensions. And the question that my friends asked me was one in particular. Why would you leave after 12 years when you only have 8 years more to vest your pension? My move was, I said to you just a bit ago, I've always been a curious person. I'm also a person who is not comfortable just sitting around doing mundane things. And my career stagnated. I was a director, and some would say, I came in as a junior R&D associate. I moved to a quality supervisor. I became the quality manager of the entire facility. I left that facility and moved to headquarters in Chicago, where I got the opportunity to lead some fairly exciting responsibilities. I moved from a manager to a senior manager to a director. And so my career was progressing. My goal was ultimately to become a vice president, but I found myself, along with others who were my colleagues who were also directors, stagnant. Kraft had purchased Nabisco. We'd brought another multi-billion-dollar company into our fold. We were expanding like nothing, and then it sort of stopped. And I didn't see a way beyond that position for a much extended period of time. And I mean 5 to 6 years. That's a long time to spend in a role doing the same thing over and over again. I'm not built that way.
Yeah.
I'm an impatient person by nature. And I didn't see that as the right thing for me to do. I was fortunate enough to be contacted by a headhunter
Okay.
who indicated that the Coca-Cola company was looking to remake its quality organization. That company was close to celebrating 125 years of existence. I gave the opportunity, I took the opportunity to fly down to to Atlanta and interview with the chief quality officer. And I loved what I heard. It was an opportunity for me to be on the ground floor of a remake that was going to be absolutely astounding. You have an obvious established brand known throughout the world.
Globally, definitely.
And I was going to be a part of helping to remake the quality organization for that that entity. And when they offered me the role, I took it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a promise of retirement. So when you say pension,
Correct.
just for those that may not be familiar, it's
Right.
another way in which it guarantees money on the
Absolutely.
other side of your career,
Correct.
similar to what a 401k might do.
Absolutely.
You walked away from that,
I did.
which is a big deal
It is.
because pensions often do, people are relying on them now,
Yeah,
but
they
for
do.
those that can. But
They do.
you saw a greater opportunity. And so
Yeah.
what title did you move from to?
So I moved from a director
Yeah.
to a senior manager.
Oh, so you took a step down
Yeah.
in title.
Well, and I'll say this: if you chase what you love to do,
Yeah.
the money will follow.
I agree.
And I'm gonna fast forward for everyone listening. the moves I made, the chances I took, leaving one company for another. If I had stayed with Kraft, I would not have made anywhere close to what I made over my career. Not even close. Not even with that guaranteed pension. I chose to chase what I love to do. The money found me, and I have learned and I traveled the world doing that.
So it's the craft
For
that
me,
you
it's
really chase the experience.
exactly.
Yeah.
I alluded to given the opportunity to raise my hand and say, I'll do that,
Right.
has proved to be very rewarding to me over my career. It is who I am by nature. It is how I feed my curiosity. It is still how I feed my curiosity. And the choices that I made over my career served me well because of the experiences that I got to create, the skills that I got to put in my portfolio of skills. All of those things served me well.
So you basically hit a ceiling of experiences at Kraft.
At Kraft, correct.
And then obviously when you went to Coke, knowing that they were reimagining what they wanted this to be.
Correct.
One, new industry, new product.
Right. Brand new to me.
Global
Yeah.
too.
Yes, absolutely.
So that in itself is a whole other experience. And then you saw the potential, the trajectory
Correct.
of being much greater.
Yeah.
Even if you took a step back in title,
Yeah.
the compensation, it sounds like, was actually greater.
It was.
So
it
the
was.
title went back, but the compensation, the total package was actually bigger.
It was. Yeah, and I will say this, the size and scale of Coca-Cola to
Right.
Kraft. Look, don't get me wrong. Kraft at the time was Kraft Foods, General Foods, and Nabisco, as well as the Oscar Mayer Company. Just size and scale, just to give you a sense of that. Kraft cheese alone, just that portion of that larger entity was a $5 billion business.
Wow.
Okay, so many companies don't ever achieve
Right.
over their entire career, over their entire existence, reaching $5 billion in revenue.
Right.
The supply chain of the Coca-Cola company at the time was $65 billion.
Wow.
Yeah. So though my role, the title, and that's another thing, I never chased titles.
Right.
I chased experience and skill development. I left as a director, and I became a senior manager. But my scope of responsibility was significantly greater. So don't concern yourself with titles as much. They are important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But don't be too focused on a title or the funds that you get, but make sure you're filling out your portfolio of skills, because you can make yourself nearly indispensable. No one is indispensable,
Right.
but you can make yourself significantly near indispensable.
Because now you can speak to expertise
Correct.
in food and
beverage. And
which
beverage.
makes you,
Yeah.
it just increases your skill set. And you mentioned recruiters or headhunters before. I just want to make
I
it
did.
clear. Recruiters are those that are looking to place different employees and different.
Absolutely.
And so now you've increased your appeal to whatever headhunter or company, because
Right.
you've shown not only you have expertise in two, but
Right.
the agility
Yeah.
to move from one to the other.
Exactly. And the largest food company in the United States is Kraft Foods. It was at the time.
Wow.
And the number one carbonated soft drink in the world is Coca-Cola.
Wow.
And they're both Fortune 100 companies.
Right. That says
yeah.
says everything. So then how long were you at Coke?
So I was at Coke for 5 years,
Okay.
From 2005 to 2011.
And what inspired the move to your next location?
Well, So 2 of those years
Yeah.
I spent in China.
Oh, wow.
So there was an expat assignment where, again, I was asked, would you be willing to? And I said, absolutely.
Chasing experiences
Yeah,
again.
moving my family to China to actually redefine our supplier relationship management. And I won't bore you with that, but suffice it to say, we were redefining and reimagining how we did business with our suppliers and how we managed those relationships. And my role as the lead of that responsibility was to create a team that would reimagine that on the company's behalf and then pilot it in China. And that's what we did over those 2 years.
So now you're having the global experience with
Correct.
the benefit of being at a global company.
Correct. So fast forward, I come back, I repatriate back to the United States, and I'm promoted to vice president of quality for our new entity. In the time that I was away in China, we purchased our largest bottler, which was Coca-Cola Enterprises. We created a new entity, which was Coca-Cola Refreshments. And I was asked to lead the quality entity for Coca-Cola Refreshments. And it was wonderful.
So just to be clear,
yeah.
senior manager, now you're
A vice president.
vice president.
Vice president of
And
quality.
that's in 3 years? How many years was
It
that?
was 5.
5 years at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
In total. So there were promotions
Right.
before I left
Of
for
course.
China, and then as I came back. But I spent those 2 years doing good work. And by the way, at this point in my career, my work is done through my leadership of other leaders. My responsibility is their development, their guidance, our strategic initiatives, execution of the same. So my responsibilities have changed significantly. While we were away, and those 6 individuals, these are all directors, all self-starting people, all type A individuals. And so it's not the same as leading much more junior individuals who need a little bit more hand-holding, a little more guidance and things of that nature. But as I came back, having led a very successful team and accomplished what we set out to do, I was rewarded with that position. But I again, 10 months in, I'm feeling as if the things that we identified as early objectives remake the quality organization, because now this is not the Coca-Cola company. This is the largest bottler and distribution company for the Coca-Cola company. And what we had agreed to do when I was asked to lead that position, my initial requests were, hey, here's an opportunity for us while we're in this transition to do what I did a few years ago when I first came to the Coca-Cola company. We have this opportunity to do this with this new entity while it's new and fresh, and while we're merging these 2 entities together. And I was told, yes, we're definitely interested in doing this. And as the months started to tick forward, I saw that it was all lip service. And I've already made a decision to leave a company after 12 years. I've gotten to a position here where I have the opportunity to do some really great things, but we're not going to progress like I think we should. And so I made it clear to my boss, who was the senior vice president in the operations, that I wasn't pleased. And he asked me to give it a bit more time, and I was willing to do that. So we're now a year in, and there's no more movement from when we had that conversation, and so I decided that it would be best for me to move on. Yes, I was a vice president. I had a wonderful office in downtown Atlanta overlooking the city. It was everything that you could potentially imagine.
Right. You
And
had achieved what many
Yeah.
would consider success, but
Yeah.
still
I wasn't
not
happy.
quite not happy because
Not
there was
happy.
still more for you to do.
Yeah, there was way more. And to sit there, I could have sat there behind that desk for the
Right.
next 15 years and twiddle my thumbs, push
Right.
paper, and have been completely bored out of my brain.
Right.
And I chose not to do that. So that's when Starbucks, another headhunter, a headhunter who I would remain in contact with this entity over the rest of my career. And they reached out to me about this new opportunity with the Starbucks Coffee Company. I had no coffee experience. I had lots of carbonated beverage experience, but no coffee, no tea, and surely not some of the roasting work that is done in that company. So I flew out to Seattle to meet the team. I got to meet with Howard Schultz, who at the time the founder of Starbucks, and at the time was the CEO. And I loved what I saw. They painted a picture of what they wanted to do. They were actually looking to create a food company within the company and stop purchasing food that they sold through their stores. And I had all the experience that they wanted.
Right, because you had food from Kraft,
Absolutely.
beverage through Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, yep.
Right, so that diversity kind of converged
It did.
with what you needed at Starbucks.
It was the absolute correct commingling that in my career that they needed to fill that space. And so a few months later, I was living in Seattle.
That's great. And this time your title is?
I am Vice President of Quality and Regulatory.
Okay. Yeah. And so you moving again with the family all
Correct.
around. I guess also goes to show how important it is to have the right support system.
It is. Yeah. And more, I don't think enough credit goes to the family, your spouse, whether it's the husband or the wife, your partner is responsible for sort of ensuring that all of the baggage that comes with you, that all of the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed in the at the home front, so that you have the freedom to do the things that you need to do. Because moving to a new company means learning that business from top to bottom, becoming familiar with your team, building relationships that are going to be important. And no matter where you are, you need the freedom to do that without the worry of, hey, is my son going to make it to baseball practice? Is my daughter going to make it to ballet practice? All of those things are managed by your partner, and having a strong partner, and I do. Ensured that I had the freedom to do the things I needed to at the office.
Yeah, because there comes a point when the career's trajectory, it's hard to manage both or two if someone has an opportunity to go to China, because both of you would want to raise your hands. At some point, you got to kind of pick the horse you're betting on and ride that out.
And that's a family decision.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's also the children also have to go through that transition as well.
They do.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. How many years married now?
38.
That's
40 together, but
impressive.
38
That's
married. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Little black lady. So let's continue through some of your career changes. So after Starbucks, how long were you at Starbucks?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
was it Kimberly-Clark after?
Kimberly-Clark, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then the transition from Starbucks to Kimberly-Clark, how did that?
My wife fell ill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And um, so we discovered that she had stage 4
Oh.
thyroid cancer. And she's fine. She's, many, many years in recovery, and thank God for that. But we discovered that when I was with Coca-Cola.
Oh,
And
okay.
we, and Emory, as many of your viewers may not be familiar, but Emory is a rather large
Absolutely.
medical facility, school, in the city of Atlanta, and they have a very extensive cancer treatment organization, and which includes a number of doctors all around the city. And one of the things that we discovered while her going through her treatment or surgery, and then the radiation afterwards, was what is equally important to full recovery is to have the right frame of mind, the right support system. And this was my opportunity to be her support. Now, we decided as a team, as our family, that I would move ahead into Seattle while she got treatment, and I would be back every 2 weeks, in fact. And we did that for about a year and a half.
Oh, that's a long time.
And long story short, I will say this. The most exciting role I've had in my entire career was the one at Starbucks.
Oh, wow.
Because that inside of that organization, things moved lightning fast. I hired in a year 47 new people. I built a food team. I expanded my regulatory organization. I built a product safety team. We bought 3 companies. We bought La Boulange in San Francisco. We bought Tivana here in Atlanta. And we bought a juice company in California. And we are onboarding these 3 large companies while I build a team, several teams, and I'm flying to and from Seattle to Atlanta so that I could be with her and support her, my wife Monique. I realized that she wasn't getting all of me.
Yeah.
And so I quit.
Wow.
Without a job. And I'm sitting in Howard Schultz's office, and he's saying to me, we can work around this. Right. We can do this. We can do this. And I'm sitting with the CEO, and I'm explaining to him that while I greatly appreciate this effort, my divided attention means my wife is not getting all of me, and she needs all of me. And so I left. Now, I am blessed, one, because I have such a strong woman as my wife. But 3 weeks after I made that decision, Egon Zender, which was the headhunters, recruiters that I referenced just a bit ago, reached out to me and said, we have an opportunity in Atlanta with this company called Kimberly-Clark. And I knew who Kimberly-Clark was. Yeah. They made Huggies, Kotex. They made Scott paper towels and tissues and Kleenex and so on and so forth. All of the things that we've used in our homes over the years. And I said, what is it? And they said, it also includes medical device. And I said, I don't have any medical device experience. And they said, we need you to go meet with my potential boss. Her name was Gail. I had lunch with her, and we sat and chatted about what she was looking for. And she said, at the end of that meal and that conversation, I want you to come in for an interview. Fast forward, I spend the next 7 years with Kimberly-Clark.
That's amazing. And it goes to show also the relationship that you've established with your headhunter.
Correct.
And that's also raising your hand, because a lot of people be like, I'm happy where I am. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But you're just like, no, let's continue to have conversations and dialogue. So
Right.
you become on speed dial.
Right.
And then when you chose family, thankfully the universe caught up and found an opportunity for you as well.
And you have to.
Yeah.
When look, it's easy to be busy and miss a baseball game,
Right.
A football game, a recital here or there. But when someone has a health scare, you have to be present, and that was important for me to do.
That's amazing. And how many years were you at Kimberly-Clark?
7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you retired from Kimberly-Clark.
I did. Yes. In 2019, I decided that it was enough.
Yeah.
I when I walked through the door at Kimberly-Clark, I had a team of 14. We brought in a new chief supply chain officer. My role got moved from my old boss, reporting into this new person, and we were going to redefine the supply chain for Kimberly-Clark. And included in that was my request to redefine our quality and regulatory organization and to centralize it. One, to ensure a cohesive strategy across the entire entity, as well as to ensure compliance across the entire entity. And so I spent 2.5 years on that work. Not alone. I had some very capable directors who were reporting into me, who were doing some of the groundwork as well. But when I retired in 2013, when I walked through the door, I had 14 individuals reporting to me. When I left in late 2019, early 2020, there were 17 people reporting into me, all of them directors or senior directors, and my organization was 892 people.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So most people would stay retired.
Yes.
Enjoy that, but not intellectually curious, always ambitious, ready to learn and contribute,
No.
Mike Page. So what happened after that, Mike?
So I spent a month.
A month?
Yeah. 1 month. Now I will say as I sit in front of you, I have been an avid golfer.
Right.
A good portion of the latter portion of my career. I have the golfing bug bad.
Yeah.
I'm completely addicted. But I spent a solid month playing golf almost every day and sometimes twice a day.
Okay. And we do see your shirt today, by the way.
Yeah.
So we get it. And we think we know what brings you into town this weekend. And what would that be brings you into town?
Augusta National and the Masters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that love is, you're a spectator as well as a player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I got bored very quickly.
Okay.
And because I was so ingrained in the work that we were doing as I finished up my career with Kimberly-Clark. And the reason honestly, the reason I retired wasn't that I was bored with the work. I was burned out.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I was traveling a lot, um, and it was a significant burden
Another
on me.
global company.
Correct.
Yeah,
So I decided that it was best for me not to burn out, but to save myself. So I gave 6 months notice, so we could hire someone, and we did. But a month in, I get a call because once you've achieved a certain level, you are a target for poaching by headhunters, and that's just the way it is. That's just life. Um, so I got a call from a headhunter indicating, hey, there's a startup by the name of Dosis. They're in the cannabis and the CBD space, and I said,
okay.
I have absolutely no cannabis space. And I said, I'm probably not the one for them. And it was in Los Angeles. Actually, it was in Santa Monica. And they said, look, what they really want is someone who has your expertise to come in and create a quality and regulatory environment that rivals what you had at Kraft and Coca-Cola and Starbucks. And I said, I'll take the call.
You
So
raised your hand again.
I did.
You
I
said
did.
yes to opportunity.
I did. So my role was going to report into the head of R&D. And so I took a call with him, and we chatted for a while. He actually had he had worked in the food industry previously also. So he knew my reservations and things of that nature. Fast forward 3 weeks, I'm out in Santa Monica. I met with, my potential boss and the CEO of the company, and a couple of other members of the senior team, and they sold me. First of all, I went from up until that point. The smallest company I had worked for was Kimberly-Clark, which was 65,000 people.
Right.
I was walking through the door of Dosis, and at the time they had 200 people.
Wow. Wow.
Most of whom worked in the building. There were a few remote workers in the field and things of that nature. But it was a startup. I'd never worked for a startup. And they were proposing that I would do things, that I begin doing things for that organization, not just growing the quality team, but do things that I hadn't done since my first couple of years as a quality manager.
What?
Or like write an SOP.
Oh,
A standard
wow.
operating
Okay,
procedure.
right, okay.
At that point in my career, I had not written a standard operating procedure in more than 12 years.
Right.
And it is like riding a bike, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's about formatting and telling how you do what it is you need done in a step-by-step fashion. So, but when I walked through the door, there was one individual who was in the quality organization, and he was my quality technician, and his name is Edwin, and he's still a friend today. He and I built the quality organization, the SOPs. We hired the team over those next couple of years.
So now you're building the foundation. Almost full circle moment.
Absolutely.
You were at the top. Now you're at the starting from
scratch.
again.
Yeah.
Yes.
With a company that was 200 people, we grew to 400 in my tenure. I had a handshake agreement with our suppliers. I knew all of them by name. I'm learning the business from the ground up.
You're learning the CBD
It-
business too. Like, wow.
Cannabis and CBD.
Wow. Yeah.
Neither which that I had any idea about. And all of the processes that led to the development of the products that we manufactured. But it was so much fun.
And it's during the boom too.
It was during
the legalization
the-
had just kind of taken
absolutely.
place.
So
Okay.
the state of Washington had gone legal first, and the state of California, which had had a medical device entity for a number of years. This was for commercial use,
Okay.
recreational use.
Okay.
And so we were at sort of the front of the curve while all of these things are going on. The long and the short of it though is COVID killed our business.
Oh.
Yeah. So
COVID killed marijuana.
yeah.
It's
Well,
hard
it
to
didn't
believe.
kill
Yeah.
marijuana, but it certainly killed. It certainly killed our company, and the reason for that is, Governor Newsom had shut down the state.
I see. So manufacturing and everything just
Well, more so, recreational tourism, cannabis tourism, ended.
Got it.
Because it was legal in the state of California, people were traveling from all over the country, and in some places all over the world, to the state of California to consume cannabis freely,
Yes.
openly.
Yeah.
And when Governor Newsom shut down the state and travel into the state to sort of put some buttresses around the spread of the COVID virus, it really hurt our business and our revenue. It didn't kill it instantly. It took a while. We ended up selling the business, but a year or so later, after sort of the pandemic sort of ebbed a bit, and
There's a lot of uncertainty during that
it
time.
was.
So
It was.
businesses don't do well with uncertainty,
No,
especially a startup.
Well, and because it was a startup, we were very dependent on fundraising and people who are unsure about the future of your business are not as willing to release funds.
Right. Absolutely.
In those cases.
Right.
So it really hurt our business.
So how long were you there?
I was there on the payroll for 2 years.
Okay.
I consulted with them and for them for another 7 months or so because I
Okay.
didn't want to see the business
Of course.
to go away.
You're
And so-
invested.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was an owner of the company.
Oh, that's the other thing. You got equity.
So I got equity in the company. And so I was very keenly interested in their success. And so I stayed
Which
on.
is the purpose of equity, actually, right?
Absolutely.
To keep you motivated.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
you didn't you didn't go back into retirement.
I did not. Because other companies were having issues as well. The head of quality at Beachbody.
Yeah.
So the a lot of people don't know Beachbody is the founder of such workouts as P90X and
Right. That's probably where it's more
Insanity
commonly known
and
from.
absolutely. But what people don't know,
Muscle confusion, workouts.
correct,
And things of
absolutely.
that sort, yeah.
But what a lot of people don't know is that they had to supplement that side of the business. They also had a protein powder, protein
That makes
bars, nutraceuticals, and things of that nature to support that the muscle growth and things of that nature. So my organization, as I was sought after to come in and lead the new quality organization, because the individual who was my predecessor was moving on to another role.
Gotcha. So was this also a call? Was this the same headhunter?
No, it was a different headhunter.
Okay.
But
you had multiple relationships. Then.
I did.
Okay.
I did. So this was this headhunter that reached out to me was one that I also maintained a relationship later on, continued a relationship with. But yeah, so I found myself in Santa Monica, California, yet again,
Okay.
because that was the headquarters of Beachbody, and being someone who has been on a fitness journey since 1998, and actually having used the workout routines and things of that nature that Beachbody helped develop, I was overjoyed to be a part of the company. And stayed on with Beachbody, helping to redefine through COVID
Right.
how we would do business, as well as how we would continue to grow and further define the requirements for our internal requirements for the products that we manufacture.
And it's interesting because I think about it now. Yeah, they were somewhat insulated from COVID because their
They were.
business is not dependent on public or,
No, not at all.
gatherings or anything like that.
Yeah.
Everything was online or
Absolutely.
virtual, et cetera.
Well,
So,
and it was a boon
Yeah.
for, I mean,
right. Working out at people's homes, that was everything. I
Yeah.
remember. You
And-
couldn't
and-
even buy exercise equipment.
exactly. And
Right.
I hate to associate something
Negative with,
good with something
Yeah.
so negative, because so many people were lost
yeah,
and harmed by COVID. But for our company, because gyms were closed,
Yep.
workout facilities were closed, and people went into their own homes
Right.
to work out, it meant significant growth for our business, not only in subscriptions to our online routines, but the products that supported them. And yet again, my team is between the consuming public
right.
and our company, or the companies that manufactured on our behalf.
So how long were you at Beachbody then?
So I was at Beachbody for 4 years.
Oh, that's a good amount of time.
Yeah, and
So
then
now you're out of retirement, Kimberly-Clark. Was this like
so
20 several years now?
Yeah,
Like,
so I retired in
Right.
full time
Right.
in 2022.
right. And
Yeah.
now, right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So then after Beachbody,
Yeah,
what inspired the retirement or leaving Beachbody at this
Yeah.
point?
yeah. It
was
was
time.
enough.
It was time.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm
Like-
sure. I am definitely sure. Yeah. I put a team in place.
Yeah.
I put my successor in
Yeah.
place. We put in programs and all of the things necessary to
Yeah.
ensure that I left the company better off than when I found it.
And I have to say, Mike, that seems to be the consistent theme
Yeah.
of every challenge that you've taken on.
Yes,
It's like you've left your mark.
Yeah.
And so it allowed you to leave with a degree of peace
absolutely.
when you moved on to the next opportunity.
Absolutely.
Starbucks might be the only exception, but there were
Yeah.
other reasons for that.
Yeah.
But you can still leave with a degree of peace because
Yeah.
you know what your priorities were.
Well, and even at Starbucks, having built the team that I put in place,
Yeah.
the food team especially, that didn't exist before I was there, and sort of the onboarding of the three companies. Evolution Fresh was the juice company, and La Boulange and Tivana. There was not a whole lot to do with Tivana. It was a plug and play, and so if I'm dividing the time onboarding any of those three companies, it was with our juice company and La Boulange, which was a food company, and 23 restaurants. Tivana came almost gift wrapped. It was a beautiful business. So it's high-end loose leaf tea.
I know. I love Tivana.
yeah.
I remember it. I'm
Yeah.
a tea drinker.
Yeah,
so,
that's sold in high-end
Yes.
malls, and they really had their stuff together.
Yeah.
And so it was really sort of checking in with them and making sure everything was okay. With everyone else, I like to believe that where
Yeah.
I left them is better than when I found it.
All in? How many years?
33.
Wow.
Yeah.
33-year career
Yeah.
in a space you didn't even know anything about.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions
Okay.
that kind of get more at the foundation of this. What would you say are the skills most important to succeed in the roles that you've had?
A willingness to listen,
Okay.
a willingness to adapt to new situations
Okay.
and new environments, and and when you speak, speak with authority.
Mm.
The, oftentimes, in my functional space, quality and regulatory, for your listeners, if you were to envision the CEO sitting in a space and individuals around that table, you would have operations, marketing, finance, supply chain. Those, okay, two of those make money. The other two count money. Okay?
That's good.
Okay. But
That's
then
good.
there are other functions like mine, quality and
Yeah.
regulatory, um, human resources, and those entities or those functions tend to get short shrift.
Yeah.
And the reason they do is because they're all overhead. We spend money. Quality, regulatory, yeah, I'm keeping you out of jail, keeping you from killing someone, but I'm spending money.
Right.
Human resources, well, you're just bringing on new people. So you don't tend to get the same space to speak or the time to speak unless you take it. And oftentimes people don't. They are comfortable sitting in the corner, not being heard, not making a fuss, so to speak, when in fact, if you do the things well in those spaces, quality and regulatory, you will save yourself money that you
Yes.
don't have to spend. If you don't, you're bound to repeat old mistakes. And so a part of what you have to do is speak truth to leadership. And when you do, speak with confidence. In the same way that marketing person is sitting there saying, if we don't market this product this way,
Right.
it will fail.
Right.
And oftentimes those individuals are listened to. In the same way that they speak, you must.
Yeah. Plus, there's such real world consequences
There
if
are.
they do not listen to you.
Absolutely.
Because to your point, what Tylenol went through and what
Yes.
some other companies are going through,
Correct.
that equity,
Yeah.
that's hard to rebound from.
It is.
Right. So once you lose the public's trust,
Yeah. It's hard to get
especially
retained.
with something you're going to consume.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There are many companies that have come up against their Tylenol scare,
Yeah.
and they no longer exist.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason Tylenol exists is because their CEO was given information that helped him make a very extremely difficult decision, but one that saved their company.
Yeah. Immediate addressing,
That
recall,
evening.
everything is off the shelf. Yeah. So that's immediacy is so important.
Ownership and immediacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't make people wonder about what you're doing.
So of those skills you just told me,
Yeah.
would you consider those skills natural abilities, learned skills, or both?
Or you can learn.
Okay.
There's really nothing in the world of corporate America that you can't learn.
Okay. One thing I will say, though,
Yeah.
you talked about curiosity.
Yeah.
I feel like that's innate to who
It
you
is.
are. So that's
For
one
me,
thing.
for sure. Yeah, and
Yeah.
for many others as well. And don't get me wrong, that I have met individuals within the organization that I've worked for who are naturally good at those things. But there is every opportunity for you to learn that skill
Right.
and to hone that skill. And the way you hone that skill is use it as often as you possibly can. Your effective communication will make or break you. The way you speak, the way you write will kill your career if you are poor at those things.
So how did you hone? And this is good because you wouldn't think speaking or writing for regulatory naturally, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't naturally. You think maybe the CEO, this is what it matters more for our marketing.
Right.
Why are those skills so important in what you did or how you showed up?
It's how you effectively communicate or help someone understand an idea that you have.
I got you. And the urgency, I guess.
And the
with
urgency
what-
behind it.
Yeah.
Correct.
So and this is true for almost all those disciplines that you mentioned that's in that room.
Yeah,
You're building a business case.
you are.
The CEO has, with their limited resources,
Yes.
and everyone's making a case for their plan, their project.
Right.
And you've got to be just as compelling when you're at that table.
You must. And if you fail at doing that, you won't get another opportunity.
Right.
So effective communication, your ability to speak well,
Yes.
and your ability to write well are critical
Right.
for you being able to get your points across and for you to be heard.
And I will say this: if you being in the room is the same thing as you not being in the room,
Yeah.
they'll start to question why you're in the room.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. You've got to
Absolutely.
show what behaviors or habits have shaped your success.
Being true to what you say you're going to do.
Okay.
Yeah. I consider myself an inclusive leader, and I've always made it clear with my teams. I will always share with you what I'm capable of sharing with you, and because I'm doing that more often than not, please understand. And this is these are my comments to them. Please understand that when I am not capable of giving you the information that you desire, please know that I'm doing what is necessary on behalf of our organization to move us forward.
So trust.
Yeah.
You're asking for trust.
Look, you attain gravitas through repeated trusting behaviors with people, teams, and organizations. When you do that, when you represent who you are, you show up as you indicated you would, and you are true to your word, people will give you the benefit of the doubt. Once you have done that over and over and over again, it's a given.
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah,
and authenticity.
you no longer have to ask for it.
Okay, so we kind of asked this one. When
Yeah.
did you first learn the career existed? But you discovered it kind of
Earlier in
by
my career.
accident,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And you didn't know this path was possible when
I
you
did
were
not.
younger. Not
I
at
did
all.
not.
How does someone, would you say, today enter this field?
So I actually went back. So I went to Virginia Tech, which is in Blacksburg, Virginia, and it's in the western portion of the state. And I went back to visit my old food science department, just to see some of the changes that are made. And I'm on that campus probably once a year for a football game and things of that nature. And one of the things that our food science group did in the years since my graduation was to develop an outreach program to the local schools in the area.
So you mean the high schools in the area
Yes.
and middle schools?
Yeah, just to make kids aware. Here's what food scientists do.
Okay.
And so I would imagine that there are others that have done the same thing in their various, because over my time I got to meet students. I actually visited the food science department at University of California, UC Davis.
Okay.
The program at Purdue in West Lafayette, Indiana. And so I got to see some of what those departments did in their communities and things of that nature. But it has to be that we do more outreach.
Okay. So you think it's beholden on the universities or even
I do.
that profession to kind of make themselves more known?
Yeah, there are
And
more.
When you say food scientists too,
Yeah.
that doesn't limit you just to food. It's also relevant to Coke and
It's beverage as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
meat science, food science.
Okay.
Nutrition.
well.
All of those are in the in the School of Life Sciences at Virginia Tech, and so they come with lots of opportunities for you to do many things in that space. It not necessarily just what I did with my career in R&D and then ultimately in
quality.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if you have a food science, obviously you started at Kraft and you progressed all around.
Yeah.
You'd be able to have an entry-level job at any one of those companies that you mentioned, likely. Maybe aside for Kimberly-Clark, because food wasn't. Or do you
Although,
think?
well, I would say yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, in that there are transferable skills that you would require to do the work of understanding medical devices and things of that nature. So that's a learned skill.
Okay.
But if you come through the door with the understanding of quality, performance,
Yeah.
regulatory compliance, and
Yeah.
things of nature, then you have most of that work done. You can learn the things and the aspects of the medical devices and things of that nature.
Okay, and you're answering what education is required. So is an undergraduate degree enough, or do you need a graduate degree in order to?
No, an undergraduate degree
Okay.
is plenty.
And then it's a science curriculum kind of that you need to
It
take
is.
to kind of get through it.
It is.
So to your point, if students are interested in medicine, this is another expression of it.
It is.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, especially for me because again, the curiosity was
Right.
resolved by me being in the world of research and development.
Did you get an advanced degree? by any chance?
A master's in food
Okay,
science.
so you did. Okay,
Yeah.
and also at Virginia Tech. Then?
Correct.
Okay, so you stayed there. Was it consecutive? You stayed on.
Yeah, right after I finished my undergraduate in food science, I stayed on for the next 2 years.
Okay, great. And is this a typical career progression in the field? Kind of staying in that space in that way.
Yes. I'll give you a great example. The other avenue is on the regulatory side.
Yes,
So FDA, USDA, and even Homeland Security.
Oh wow.
You
would have
wouldn't
thought
think.
that,
Well,
right.
yeah, but one of the things that the Homeland Security is responsible for is the security of foodstuffs and beverages for our troops.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the transport of same, and so it's amazing where you will find a food scientist or a regulatory person who with a food science or nutrition or an
It's
advanced degree.
interesting. You
Yeah.
made me just think of space and NASA, like that.
that
Also,
as
that's
well.
a specific thing. And at one point, we even talked about airlines. And
Correct.
That's a whole other. Yeah. So,
It is.
So there's so many different. Any place that's serving food.
Yeah,
You could potentially have a career at or start there.
correct.
Okay, that's really interesting. So now this is where I want to get down to the dollars and cents.
Okay.
Because I think most people, and we've talked about this, assume you can only make good money
Yeah,
if you're dunking a basketball or on a stage.
no.
So not to get too personal,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
to get a little specific, just so people understand,
Mhm.
you've made a good living.
I have.
How would you define your good living?
Yeah.
Give us some color as to what a future lifestyle could look like if they pursue your path.
Yeah. So, a senior vice president, group vice president for a major company in quality and regulatory, like with the likes of Starbucks or Kimberly-Clark or Coca-Cola, will make well into six figures.
That's great.
Yeah. And if you're with the Eli Lilly's,
Yes.
Johnson and Johnson, Merck's, and things of that nature, even more into the six figures. So I'd say over the course. Now, please understand, these are the most senior of roles.
Right.
So there's a gradation down into the organization into the more junior
Right.
associates,
That's not where
technicians.
you start. Right, exactly.
Yeah, correct,
Right.
correct. But I'll give you a great example. I started at Kraft in 1992, right out of graduate school. My starting salary with Kraft as a R&D technician in a manufacturing facility was $38,000. That position today is almost $90,000.
Wow.
That same position.
Wow.
Now, please understand, there's inflation
Right.
and so on and so forth, but in that with that role from 1992 to now present day, it's 90 grand versus $38,000.
Wow. So you're already talking six figures potentially, right?
Nearly.
Is there a bonus structure?
Oh yes, oh yes, for sure. So as over my career, um, when I became a vice president, and even when I was a director, I received stock certificates as well as options, and then there was a bonus that was a percentage of my base pay. Now that bonus structure went up in percentage over my career, and the amount of stock that I received, whether it be restricted stock units or options, also followed an incline over my career as well.
And so we're talking about a nice, healthy package. You mentioned a 33-year career.
So if you're talking a senior person, senior vice president, global vice president, with that, what I referenced previously was just base. With stock and with bonuses, it's seven figures.
There you go.
Over the course of a year.
And this is doing something you love. It's an alternative path.
Yeah. No, you're.
But you have to deliver. Not everyone's a Mike Page. Let's say that. But
now, and I'm not. You weren't making LeBron James money.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And NBA. However, the point that I want to make with any of this, if you're doing what you love, you're going to be handsomely rewarded.
Yes.
Yes, you can make lots of money in the entertainment business.
Right.
But you can also be someone who works in an industrial field, a commercial field, in manufacturing, and make an excellent living and doing something that you love to do.
Right. And at what age were you when you retired from Kimberly-Clark?
So I was 50 in 2022. I'm 61 now.
So I bring this up to say,
so I was 57.
When you retired,
yeah,
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
Safe to say you had financially prepared to be retired
Correct.
at 50.
Yes.
Something.
Yeah.
Which is, I'd say, relatively young.
Yeah.
Meaning that you've obviously had to have made good financial decisions, but that means you were also compensated a certain way.
I was
as well.
Yeah, and I learned. So I grew up modestly.
Yeah.
Savings in the household that I grew up in was, a passbook savings account, not an investment. No investments.
Right.
And so I sought out a financial advisor early in my career, which helped my wife and I save and invest in a way that we paid off our boys' education. So they started life debt-free with their education. Purchased the homes that we lived in, and then saved for retirement, so that when I retired from Kimberly-Clark, for me, it was, I could have remained retired and lived a very comfortable life.
Right.
Yeah.
And to your point, your younger self took care of your older self.
Oh, yes,
which
for sure.
means you likely maxed out on your 401k or your Roth.
Yep.
And now you're making investments, and now you have this advisor.
Correct.
And for some that have the aptitude, they can probably make smart investments on their own too, especially with the resources that are out here right now.
For sure. It is much easier today than it was.
Right.
Yeah. I sought someone who had specific knowledge in that space, and created a trusting relationship. And subsequently, that helped me do the things that give me the freedom to not focus on that myself, because your attentions are divided. Managing your portfolio yourself while trying to grow a career and travel extensively and be involved, something's going to suffer.
Yeah.
And so I chose not to have my attentions divided in that space.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So, a lot of success.
Mhm.
Looking back, anything you do differently?
No,
Mm,
no, I don't
that's
live a life
awesome.
of regrets.
Don't believe in that.
Nope.
Is there something currently that you're aspiring towards, other
Uh,
than a better handicap?
yeah,
Is
well,
that-
yeah, and I'm working hard on
I
that.
know.
No, um, you referenced in the intro that that I mentor, and
Yes.
I still do. So Path Builders is an organization here in Atlanta, and its mission has changed, and I won't get into the political nature of why it's changed, but its mission was to help women matriculate through corporate America and get the advancements that they deserve. Corporate America is predominantly white, male dominated, and women and people of color have, yes, many have found their way to advanced roles and things of that nature, but that path is so much more difficult for them. And Path Builders endeavors were to help women find their way through corporate America by helping them through a year-long program of learning and development that was accompanied by a senior person in corporate America, a mentor who could help them also complement the learning and development.
Wow.
And I've been doing this. I've been doing that with Path Builders for 11 years.
Oh, wow.
The program now has expanded to include men.
Okay.
And so I have, for the first time through this program, I have a young man that I'm mentoring in the program and helping him find his path forward
That's great.
with his company.
That's
Yeah.
great. So, when you think of the next generation,
Yep.
what advice would you give someone still in school?
Be okay with not knowing where you want to be in 5 years.
Yeah.
And take every opportunity to learn something new. I think oftentimes, and you see this today when, kids want to play 50 different sports and the parents try to, and for good reason, because you don't want to be on the road all day, every day, driving them to the next practice. So parents try to restrict that to one so that, you can help them focus on that. The truth is that you often don't know what you want to do until you've experienced it. I wouldn't be sitting here having this chat with you about having spent 33 years in food and beverage and medical device if I didn't happen upon a particular class at a particular time that led me to understand that there was this thing called food science. Had I not had that experience, I wouldn't be sitting here having this chat with you. So be okay with not knowing where you want to be, but make sure you take every opportunity to learn something new each and every day.
Okay. And then, what do you hope young people see when they see you today watching you speak?
Someone who found their way to something that they loved, and that path exists for them as well. It's not my path. It's not your path. I will say this: I've over my career, I've attended a number of lunch and learns where you have an executive come in and tell you about her or his path and things of that nature. the truth of the matter is that the right set of circumstances happened for that individual on that day that led to XYZ. It's not going to happen that way for you.
Mm-hmm.
Your path exists, and it's fine listening to that because there's some nugget of information that might be helpful to you. But go in with the thinking that my path exists if I'm open to it, and be open to meeting new people, learning new things, and continuing those relationships.
Okay. So we're going now beyond the title. We're going to end with a couple of questions here, including a speed round here.
Okay.
But so one, what financial mistakes did you make early on?
I didn't very early in my career. I didn't contribute to my 401k.
Okay.
For the first year that I was employed, and that changed very soon thereafter. So I missed a year of money that could have gone into my 401k.
Compounding interest is a thing.
And it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
Right.
But I thought at the time, because there was when I left graduate school, I was poor.
Yeah.
We had $2,000 in the bank because I was a graduate student. My wife and I had both degrees. We both had a degree. We had a son who was 11 months old, and one car, and
Wow.
2 mortgages on a house that house cost us $92,000, but we had to have a second mortgage for the down payment because we had no money.
Right.
So I didn't think I could afford to contribute to a 401k. And I couldn't afford not to.
Yes.
But those first few years were a struggle.
Yes. Because you have to deny your present self for your future self.
Yes.
And there are no pensions out there anymore.
None.
Whatever you're going to have. It's not even clear if we're going to have Social Security by the time this next generation is going to be here.
And that's unfortunate.
Right. Okay, so when did you first feel like you made it? Like, I'm living a decent life. I'm okay right now.
When I let myself feel that for the first time was when I came back from China and was promoted to vice president.
Yeah. Is that your first VP title?
That was my first VP title. Yeah.
Okay, and then was there a moment when you realized you belonged in rooms you once only imagined?
It was before I left for China.
Okay.
I took on a responsibility. I left my quality governance role. I was asked to lead a major program, the integration of our supply chain, ERP, and my chief quality officer asked, because I had done so well with what I'd done previously, he asked if I would take on that responsibility, get up to speed, and get it back on track because it was failing, and that failure was going to mean a ding to him as well. When I was sitting in the room with our CEO, CFO, chief of operations, my boss, who was the chief quality officer, and a few other people doing the monthly reports about how we were getting this program back online, I realized with the questions that they were asking me, and he was the most senior people in the organization, that they were asking were of a fairly basic nature. I thought to myself, they don't know more than this? I have the answers that they want. They only get the answers from me. Oh, I am no less than any of them.
Yes.
But it's hard to feel that when their titles precede them. CEO, chief financial officer, these are the most wealthy people in this company, all sitting in this room, who have years and years more experience than I do, yet they're listening to me.
Yeah.
And then that's when I felt I belong.
Right.
Yeah.
Powerful. And not only that, but the truth is you had to be competent.
Yes.
In order to earn that
Oh,
position.
the practices.
Because if you didn't have the answers,
no,
you wouldn't be in that room again.
None.
Right.
My deck, which was only usually 3 pages,
Oh, wow.
very few words,
Okay.
so that I could speak to it, was scrutinized by 6 different people,
Right.
including the chief quality officer.
Yes.
But we honed the message in a way so that it was palatable by them.
What milestone meant the most to you and why?
What I accomplished in China, because it had never been done before.
It seems like you've done a lot that's never been done before.
Yeah, and this one was because ultimately what we did and what we created helped advance product safety and of the entire supply chain. And one of the ideas that I came up with was we partnered with Michigan, the Food Science Department of Michigan State, to capture that work, to record what we did, to create a document that could and a roadmap that could be followed by other, and then we open sourced it to the world, because our leadership at Coca-Cola had. At my behest was, let's not treat food safety as an economic boon for us.
Yeah.
Let's give this away freely
elevate
and say it for everyone.
Yeah.
And we did.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What was the first purchase you made that made success feel tangible?
The house we built. My second go round here in Atlanta.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All the finishes and just like I want a heated towel rack.
Yeah. Well,
all of that.
It was previously, and by the way, we've moved 15 times.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Now we live in Arizona, and that was the 15th move. But up until that time, that house that we built in Milton, we had purchased previously built homes. Someone else's either dream or building that house made me feel like we sort of made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is your vision.
Yeah.
This is your safe place.
Exactly.
That like blank canvas.
Yeah.
I want my closet like this, and I can only imagine.
And my wife wants this, and this, and she's going to get it.
Like my kitchen and my pantry. All of that.
Yeah.
What do you hope your success normalizes?
An African American male running a large organization.
And that's the one thing I hadn't asked yet.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna ask now.
Yeah.
I imagine you didn't see a lot of you.
No.
In your field, your industry, or in these rooms.
No.
What was that like? Feeling the weight, or maybe responsibility, maybe the privilege, of representing your community.
Yeah. So before I left Kraft, there weren't any. I left Kraft. Another reason I left Kraft also, and I didn't say this. The chief quality officer at Coca-Cola was a black male.
Oh, wow.
And I'd never worked for a black man previously.
No wonder. So when they called and you saw him in the room, he must have had a halo over his head, right?
Oh, yeah. He sold me. Even if he weren't black, I still would have left.
Right. The vision was there, the opportunity.
But that was seeing him in that seat and having the opportunity to work for him and with him on this vision made it even more. But in my career, no. There have been a handful. For instance, my time with Coca-Cola, Robert Long is an associate of mine who led all of quality all of R&D for the Coca-Cola company. He's a brother, and he actually, after I retired from Kimberly-Clark, he retired from Coca-Cola, and actually went to Kimberly-Clark
Really?
for a few years. Yes, he did.
Okay.
But in my career, I can count on one hand how many men of color I've seen in running significantly large organizations. Starbucks was one of them, but again, very few. Very
So
few.
it's it's so hard to show up and be great because you have to be great when you have these titles.
You do.
But to be great and to be of color, these titles, like, expect it to be twice as good to get half as far. Like,
Absolutely.
that's a very real thing.
Yeah.
So,
and you just don't, there's the same space that our white counterparts are given to have their missteps.
yes.
We don't.
I know. We don't have that grace.
We do not get that same grace.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to rehiring, the pool is even more diminished because if you fail at one, you usually don't get another opportunity.
Right. And then
that's very unfortunate.
If you don't perform, unfortunately, there's less belief that others can
And the
follow
others.
in your footsteps.
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
get that.
Yeah.
Mike, I just have to thank you. We've known each other for some time, but I don't think
Yeah.
I even had the full depth and breadth of everything.
Yeah.
And so I just want to thank you as someone who has watched you, and I know you show up as you say you do, because you were a mentor not only to me, but to our African-American ERG.
Yeah.
I'll never forget you show up. People don't know you usually have a bow tie and the best dressed person in the room. People don't know because this is not what this normally looks like.
No, it's not.
So I just love the representation,
Yeah.
and you came your full self and allowed the rest of us to feel comfortable in being our full self as well.
Yeah.
And so thank you for the excellence that you've achieved.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's one kid out there that's like, food science.
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
And that's really what this is about.
Well,
Changing one mind, opening the aperture, and making a difference for our next generation.
But more importantly, I want to thank you for creating this platform to allow people like myself to come in and speak to your listening, your viewers as well, and hopefully be inspired.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it all starts with you. If they don't show up, it's your fault. It's not mine. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.